Storage areas and dispatch bays. Now, these are physical areas within your buildings where you can store completed items or items that have been bought specifically for an item on a contract that are either going to go straight out to site or going to be used on the workshop floor for the item. Now, this is not to be confused with items that are in your stores that have been bought for stock. These are specifically areas designated for items, for either completed items or, as I say, items that have been bought for the job. So if I click list storage areas and dispatch bays, that will give a listing of all the areas that have been set up, showing the site, the building, the area. It's a bit overkill, but some companies might have several sites that they want to record where stuff is located. So you've got the facility to have a site, building, an area, then an aisle in the area, a particular rack in the aisle, and then a bay within the rack and a shelf. So you can go quite deep to pinpoint where a certain item is. And you've got notes to say what type of item can be stored in that area as well. We can see which items are currently in use as well. So if I click on aisle A, rack 1, we can see the items that have been in there. It has a complete audit of items that have been in and out of that particular area, and then we can see what currently is in there at the moment. If I click on the next one, again you can see the audit. This item obviously hasn't got anything in there at the moment, but as I say, we've got a complete audit of what has been in there at a given time. And this area hasn't had anything added to it yet. Another way of viewing that to easily see what you've got in what areas, rather than looking at that larger listing, is just to click the issue from storage dispatch, and that will just list everything that you've currently got in whatever area. Now, these areas are already set up behind the scenes in your company classification. So once they're set, you don't generally need to go and change them. Now, to set these up, you need to go to your system admin, set system defaults, classifications, then go to your production classifications, and then you've got your storage areas. And to add a new area, you can just click add new, and then you can add the site, the building, the area, the aisle, rack, etc. Now this can get a little tedious if you've got a lot to do, and also can get a bit confusing, because chances are your site, building and area are probably going to be the same all the time, and it's only the aisle and the rack that are changing. So to make life a little easier, you can click on one of them and say duplicate location for selected area. So if I click on that, it then creates an exact copy of that, with the exception it has to put a D for duplicate at the end of the location code, because the location code has to be unique. So this is where, if I was going to say this is aisle E, I would then amend my code to suit, and then just tab across and say that is aisle E, and we could say that is actually for large. So rather than a rack, it might literally just be an area on the floor. Once you've got these set up, you can then generate an identification label for that to be stuck near the location. So if I just print one of those out, just print, and then you get a QR code that can then be scanned for the location on there. So that will actually be stuck at the relevant location from within there. Once you've set all these up, just go to save finished. It's just reminding you here that the changes you've made you will see instantly, but other users on the system won't see them till they've logged out and back in the system again, because it will automatically then refresh various areas. So if I now list the storage areas, you'll see that area E is now on the system. So relatively simple to get your storage areas set up, but it's important to get that set up first and carefully so that you can start recording where items are being stored to.